This regular meeting of the Waukee City Council to order. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will you please do roll call? Mayor Clark? Here. Councilmember Anderson? Here. Councilmember Crone? Here. Councilmember Grove?
Here.
Councilmember Lyon? Here. Councilmember Pierce? Here. Agenda item D is open forum. Open forum is the time for anyone here tonight to address the council on any subject over which the council has the authority to act or on any item on the agenda other than a public hearing. If anyone here tonight, either in the council chambers or on Zoom, wishes to address the council, they can approach the podium or raise their hand. And if participating via Zoom, please click on the raise hand icon located under the reactions controls. If participating via phone, please click on *9. Just as a reminder, when you are recognized, please state your name and address for the record.
Tim Wilson, 125 Northview Drive. I'm here. 2 years ago, you put a fire hydrant in front of my house. Was I happy? No, but it's there. Every so often, I get people parking next to it. Finally, 2 weeks ago, I finally called the police. Come down here. The fire hydrant there, mark it, paint the curb red. I don't care. But like I say, I get a little tired. If they're going to park there, why should somebody dig the snow away from it? If you're going to allow the parking there, I'm asking to do something. I mean, I might look out and there's no cars there. Next thing I know, one's parked right there. If you go west, when I called the fire department, they said 10 feet. So my wife and I measured 10 feet west. You're in my west driveway. 10 feet east, you've got probably a small area. You could put like a parking garage when it says subcompact cars. You might fit it in there. Otherwise, you're either too close or you're in my driveway. I'm asking either paint the curb, move the fire hydrant, or something. I mean, it's put there for safety for roughly 10 houses. I'm trying to figure where this goes. I didn't pick the spot. I know they put them every 300 feet, I was told. This is where it turned out. But, every time I turn around, somebody's parking too close. I even make my own family members move if they get too close. One of them, he's the police or the fire chief of a surrounding town, and I made him move. I said, didn't you see that fire hydrant right there? And I said, I got driveways. I got 2 driveways. We got the whole street. I'm asking either paint it and watch the parking. We got a car down there now. It's been there for 3 days because apparently they don't want to use their driveway. So I'm asking just pay attention. Like I say, I personally, more years ago than I want to admit, I got a parking ticket in front of my own house. Larry Phillips probably wrote it when he was an officer before he was chief. It was that long ago. But, hey, I don't make the rules. Sometimes I don't like them, but everybody's got to play by the same rules. I'm just asking to paint the curb, put a flag up, and enforce it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Hello, I think a taller person was here before me. My name is Alex Rice. I'm the executive director of the Street Collective. I live at 2111 48th Street in Des Moines, but am really speaking today on behalf of the Street Collective, which serves the entire Des Moines Metro, including Waukee. This mic is clearly
it just doesn't want to. Yeah.
Right. This is what I get for touching it. So the Street Collective is a nonprofit organization that works to make the Des Moines Metro an amazing place to walk and bike. We also do a lot of bike safety education. So in the last few months, we've educated 270 kids on bike safety, and we plan to do at least that number in the coming months as well. So I see my help is coming to the rescue. So I just hold it at this point. Aha. There we go. This is the short person height. So we got a copy of the ordinance Friday evening. I've been working with the Iowa Bicycling Coalition and Bike Iowa to review kind of ordinances around the metro. We've made sort of a short list of notes that we have about the ordinance. I think the big positive thing is a lot of things that we came to you, what was that, a month ago, that were big, major concerns. It seems like a lot of that has been addressed. So we're very grateful to have had this second chance to take a look at things. We do have some notes and comments that we can pass along to the chief about some changes that should still be made. I think we could probably also copy the council on that as well so that you can see that. So I just wanted to share that now to say that there are some things that we do think need to be changed. They're not the pretty significant issues we saw before that were banning bikes on most streets. So we appreciate that. We are a little concerned that Waukee is going in this one direction, Clive's going in a slightly different direction, other cities are going in other directions, and we would like to see the whole region come together with a regional strategy rather than each city passing something on their own. So that remains a concern for us. But, and I think just another highlight from there was, well, I think maybe we'll share some of that as we share our feedback back to you. But I wanted to at least come tonight and not leave the issue without being addressed in this forum, to say that we'll be sharing some of that additional feedback with you. It's just that we've had such short time to review it. We want to make sure that we're speaking with one voice before we go ahead and do that.
Thank you. I do want to comment on that in terms of, I believe we received 57 comments from bicycle groups on the last ordinance, and we incorporated 54 of them. So I think those numbers are some 58, and so I think from our perspective, we have incorporated the vast majority that we can at this point, and that we believe are in alignment with state and with our ability to enforce. I also just wanted to comment that this has been a regional conversation, and for the vast majority of the ordinances, they are fairly consistent. There are going to be slight differences between communities because, quite frankly, we are different communities. We have different enforcement capabilities. We have different roads. We have slightly different safety considerations. And so I understand we've heard this request for a regional approach. It has been a regional approach, but each city is going to be just slightly different from an enforcement perspective. But please share your feedback. We're always happy to take it. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Matthew Steffen. I live at 1211 South 91st Street in West Des Moines, Iowa. I was here a couple weeks ago speaking about electric one-wheeled vehicles. The current definition of electric personal assistive mobility device refers to a self-balancing non-tandem two-wheeled device that averages 750 watts with a maximum speed of less than 20 miles per hour. This is essentially category speak for a Segway. While I appreciate that this section was quite likely written explicitly based on my prior comments, I think a couple of things got lost in translation. I use a one-wheeled self-balancing device, so technically this definition does not apply to me at all. And I would still be subject to the licensing requirements of a high-speed pedestrian conveyance as well as barred from sidewalks and trails. To this end, I would ask the definition either be expanded to include one-wheeled devices or simply remove the wheel requirement altogether, because the physics issues that I previously raised are relevant to all self-balancing devices, not just one-wheeled ones. Segways benefit too. Second, I very much appreciate that average wattage rather than peak wattage is being used for these devices. This is a massive improvement to safety that is only applicable to a self-balancing device. However, you use a 170-pound rider test for maximum speed. I believe that this test, while good, is misplaced. It should be used for average wattage, what a 170-pound rider can do with 750 watts and what a 240-pound rider can do with 750 watts are not the same thing. By moving the test to wattage, not speed, you can get the effect that I believe you are after. If it is kept on speed, you'll actually be imposing a much harsher speed limit than you intend. Unlike every other device class, a self-balancing device has no way of imposing a speed limit. It either catches you or it doesn't. In order to have the wattage overhead that is prerequisite to safety, as I discussed last time, it must also be theoretically capable of higher speeds than would be safe to ride at. If my device must be incapable of exceeding 20 miles per hour while also having safety overhead, then it must inherently average fewer watts than the 750 that you just set in the previous sentence. Worse, even at slow speeds, the power needed to overcome a small obstacle is tremendous for heavier riders. The weight of a rider matters tremendously more when you're talking about pushing them up versus just sideways, advancing them. If my board is so restricted, I fear it would simply dump me rather than overcome the small rock. That is not safe for anybody. A far safer way is to keep the average wattage limit and move the 170-pound rider test to that limit. Now, you might be feeling this is all very complicated and challenging for an officer to assess in the field. I agree. This is why, while I like the average wattage test far more than its predecessor, I think a far better method is to simply scrap the wattage and speed caveats to the definition just for self-balancing devices. They'd still be beholden to all behavioral limits set forth in the rest of this chapter, including speed limits, signaling turns, yielding to pedestrians, following posted signage, just being good humans, etc. However, if you feel that definitional limitations are necessary, then please at least stick with average wattage and not speed, because anything else will have unintended consequences. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Chris Cummings, 215 Bailey Circle. So a couple months ago, I was here asking questions about automated license plate readers in the town. I want to say to the police chief, I appreciate the information you gave. I appreciate taking the opportunity to explain the town's use. This is a topic that's particularly interesting to me based on what I do professionally, but also being a resident here. Recently, there's an expansion to a lot of these devices going on around the country. Some of the models of these devices are no longer simply cameras. They're not simply there to be license plate readers for the purpose of law enforcement to aid them in their work to protect our residents. But many of them are also now electronic recording devices for audio. And most recently, some companies such as Leonardo, who makes a lot of the ones that mount to, say, vehicles, you probably see them on cars going past, is actually going one step further. And on their new generation of these, they'll actually start recording electronic IDs, the things that transmit, whether you're using them or not, on, say, your cell phone, the wristwatches you have, any smart tech. The expansion of these devices is posing not only a privacy risk to our residents, but also a data risk. Waukee doesn't own the flock camera data. Waukee doesn't own if Leonardo, this company, for example, if the city had a partnership with them, captures the data of your laptops, your personal devices, where you are at all times. You don't own that data. I appreciate that the police chief has outlined a very good accountability and governance program for the flock cameras. That is an outstanding program that cities around the country should honestly model after and adopt internally for tracking. But Waukee doesn't own the data. They can't control what others do with this data. They can't control what the companies themselves do. Flock Safety has had numerous instances where their own employees are accessing the data inappropriately. Leonardo would be capturing, in this instance, personal device data where you go, whether you are involved in a case or not necessarily for the purpose of the city of Waukee or their police department, for any agency anywhere around the country. So while I appreciate the importance of these devices, I want to urge the city that if they are approached about partnerships or the offer to buy these type of devices, and I have a data sheet here later if some folks would like to see what it looks like and what it does, that they would investigate and reject the use of those type of devices as a mass overreach on the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. With that, open forum is closed. Actually, I didn't, Becky, we're good online, right? There are no hands raised in Zoom. Normally she tells me, but all right. Agenda item E is agenda approval. Can I get a motion? Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Please vote. Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Agenda item F1, Waukee Police Department Life Saving Awards. Chief? You can tell they're really excited to have their picture taken. They just jumped right up.
They love this. Don't let them fool you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. On May 1st, 2026 at approximately 2:37 a.m., Officer Bowers and Officer Golshon responded to a call regarding an unconscious male. Upon arrival, officers found the adult male in cardiac arrest. Officer Bowers immediately began CPR, and Officer Golshon prepared an AED, or automatic external defibrillator. Officers continued life-saving efforts, including delivering a shock with the AED, until the Waukee Fire Department medics arrived and took over patient care. As a direct result of the efforts of both the Waukee Police Department and the Waukee Fire Department, the male survived the encounter and was released from the hospital shortly after. I often tell our team that they will never know the true reach of their efforts, and this is one more example of the Waukee community benefiting from the professional, effective, and efficient efforts of our first responders. I am proud to award Officer Bowers and Officer Golshon with the Waukee Police Department Life Saving Award in recognition of their performance and in line with the Waukee Police Department policy. Please join me in congratulating both officers.
Would any partners, family, whoever's here like a photo. Yeah, take a photo. Mhm. And if you. Thank you very much. We don't necessarily get to see as a community all of your efforts behind the scenes every single day. And so I'm incredibly grateful that this gets highlighted to us. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. With that, agenda item G1 is a public hearing on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for South Warrior Lane Improvements Project from Westtown Parkway to a point 2842 feet south. It's a very random. Rudy, you're just messing with me now. 2,842 feet south. Sorry about that. All right, I now declare this public hearing open. Becky, have we received any written correspondence on this issue?
No, none received in the city clerk's office.
At this time, city staff will present. Rudy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, council members. Up on the screen is an exhibit that you've seen previously when we presented regarding a developers agreement between the Timberline Estates Development Group and the city of Waukee. So this project highlighted in red would be the base bid of the extension of South Warrior Lane south of Westtown Parkway. Along with this, there's approximately 1,500 feet along the south side of Westtown Parkway that we will be completing the urban section of that roadway. So curb and gutter, storm sewer, and grading in the current ditch section to an urban setting. The construction also includes, as the mayor alluded to, almost 2,900 feet of pavement
He gets the shortcut.
from Westtown to the south property line. And so the blue up there represents a bid alternate that we put together in this bid package, and we'll report those here in a little bit. But essentially all of this, this project encompasses approximately 8,200 square yards of concrete pavement, as well as a subgrade preparation, modified subbase, nearly 2,200 feet of water main, 3,300 feet of storm sewer, 1,700 feet of sanitary sewer, and other associated work, including a shared use path along the east side of South Warrior Lane. So this project is part of our approved fiscal year 27 to 31 capital improvements plan. We have a total budget of $2.225 million. And with that, staff recommends holding the public hearing, and happy to answer any questions you have on this project.
Thank you. Does anyone here tonight, either in the council chambers or on Zoom, wish to address the council and voice their comments or questions on this particular public hearing item? If so, please approach the podium or raise your hand, or if participating via Zoom, please click on the raise hand icon located in the reactions controls.
There are no hands raised in Zoom.
Does council have any questions at this time? I now declare this public hearing closed. Agenda item H1 for South Warrior Lane Improvements Project from Westtown Parkway to a point 2,842 feet south. H1A, consideration of approval of a resolution approving plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost. Can I get a motion? Move to approve.
Second.
Rudy?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost have been on file with the city clerk for review upon request. Happy to take any questions if you have any. Staff recommends approving the resolution.
Thank you. Any questions? Please vote.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes. Item H1B, consideration of approval of a resolution awarding contract. Can I get a motion? Move to approve.
Second.
Rudy?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now the exciting part of this project. You can see up on the screen, we had 10 prime contractors submit bids for this project back on June 9th, just last Tuesday. And you can see with 10, that's a pretty good interest. And you can see quite a bit of range from almost just over 17% under our engineer's estimate of $3,034,918.50. Like I mentioned, we had the bid alternate, which was that remaining about 800 feet on the south end. And per the developer's agreement that we had with Timberline Estates Development Group, that bid alternate was to be considered up to a dollar amount in that development agreement, up to a $2 million amount. So you can see the apparent low bidder, Concrete Technologies out of Grimes, Iowa, just under that $2 million with the base build, and then adding in that $528,000 and change for the bid alternate. Collectively, that comes together base bid plus bid alternate, $2,512,245.95. Per the developer's agreement and conversation with the developer, the city could move forward with awarding the bid alternate in addition to the base bid. And so that is the recommendation tonight. Anything above $2 million per the developer's agreement is to be reimbursed by that developer. So the city will proceed forward with the bid alternate, and then we'll draft up with city legal's assistance a reimbursement agreement for that reimbursement component. So with that, you can see that Concrete Technologies out of Grimes, Iowa, the apparent low bidder staff has experience with working with them in this type of project. They're primarily a paving contractor. They'll have subcontractors for utility work and subgrade preparation. Overall, is our understanding, the developer also has their development improvements that they'll likely work with similar contractors or this contractor for the remaining work of this entire development. But for the city's portion tonight, staff's recommendation is awarding the base bid plus bid alternate to Concrete Technologies out of Grimes, Iowa for the dollar amount of $2,512,245.95. Happy to take any questions on that. And staff recommends approving the resolution.
Perfect. Thank you. Are there any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Item I1, consent agenda. Can I get a motion? Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Item I2, appointments. I2A, consideration of approval of a resolution approving the mayor's appointment of citizen members to the Library Board of Trustees for 3-year terms to end June 30th, 2029. I would like to appoint or reappoint David Meyer and Emily Schultz and appoint for the first time Chelsea Salvo. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Item I2B, consideration of approval of a resolution approving appointment of a citizen member to the Board of Adjustment for an unexpired term ending January 31st, 2029. I would like to appoint Gladys Peterson. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Item I3, consideration of approval of an ordinance to amend Chapter 76, Waukee Municipal Code, bicycle regulations to rename Chapter 76 as personal transportation device regulations to update the ordinance and include the regulation of personal transportation devices, and upon the effective date, repealing Chapter 77, Waukee Municipal Code skateboards. This is an introduction and a first reading.
Introduce the ordinance and move to approve the first reading and title only.
Second. Chief.
Good evening again. As you know, we've been working on this for quite some time, and as the mayor pointed out, I feel that we have been collaborative in working on this. I did get approximately 58 changes back from the various groups, the Street Collective, the Iowa Bicycle Coalition, and Bike Iowa. We evaluated those changes that they requested, and we implemented all but 13. Ultimately, this ordinance needs to serve for the safety of the city of Waukee. And while we do want some consistency across the metro, we also need to look at what our city needs and our unique position within that. So that's what the ordinance is based around. We have heard some that believe this is an attempt to affect only e-motos, and that's not the case. We're trying to make it safe for everybody. In the last month, I've had 3 residents send me videos. One was an e-moto that crossed University at 98th Street at 6 o'clock in the evening and shot the gap, as they call it, and was lucky he didn't get hit by a car. However, the other 2, one of them was an electric scooter that you stand on, that some people had to jump off the sidewalk and get out of the way of because they about got ran over. And the third one, based on the video, appears to be an electric bicycle. And again, the person riding it was not being responsible, and the people walking on the sidewalk had to jump to get out of the way. So this is not an e-moto problem. It is, again, trying to bring everybody using the outdoor spaces to the same level of responsibility and safety within our community. Some of the changes that, and I won't go through all of them, but some of the changes that we did do based on the feedback, we added a definition of the e-moto, and also based on the feedback we got, we classified that as a high-speed pedestrian conveyance. I'm not sure where that definition came from, but it was recommended that we use that, so we did. However, we tied e-moto to it simply because that's what these things are being called nationwide, not just in Iowa. If you look at various social media posts out of Florida, Arizona, Kansas, daily, you'll see social media posts that have the e-moto header on them.
Chief, could you speak more into the microphone? The back of the room is having trouble hearing you.
I will try.
Thank you.
So we do want the e-moto piece to be a component of that, simply because that's what has taken off in the definition of these things nationally, not just locally. We did add the specific regulations for e-motos of the registration, licensing, titling, and insurance. We expressly prohibit the operation of the e-motos and electric motorcycles on sidewalks, bicycles, trails, city parks, and green spaces. And I am well aware that there are going to be some Waukee residents that are unhappy because they've spent a couple $1,000s on these things. But again, they have no place in the mix with pedestrians and bicycle traffic, and we do need to get that under control. Again, it incorporates the comments received from the first draft from several persons and area enthusiast groups. We did remove the prohibition of bicycles and electric bicycles on streets. However, we did maintain electric scooters, non-ADA pedestrian conveyance, skates and skateboards to those streets with a 25-mile-an-hour or less speed limit. And again, that's to keep those people from playing on streets with those higher speeds. This new ordinance requires devices to stay on a paved portion of a bicycle path, trail, or sidewalk in the city's green spaces or parks. As you well know, we have had problems with some people tearing up soft surface playgrounds, which is very expensive. We also have problems with them tearing up the green spaces, which then takes time and money to go back and repair that by the city or whoever owns that property. And then finally, as I stated, expressly prohibits the operation of high-speed pedestrian conveyance or e-motos on sidewalks, trails, city parks, or green spaces. And we base that on a 750 watt or capable of more than 20 mile an hour solely by a motor number. So I'm happy to take any questions. I'm always happy to review whatever anybody sends for feedback. However, again, I just want to express that we can't make everybody happy all the time. And what we do have to do is create something that creates safety for our community and tackles the Waukee problems that we're seeing.
Appreciated, Chief, very much. As you know, as we've spoken about many, many times over the last almost year, in terms of both regional conversations as well as here in Waukee, this has been an ongoing effort, and I think you've been very responsive to people as they've provided comments as well. What questions does anyone have?
I don't know if I wrote this down wrong, and I apologize, but can you speak about average wattage and not just speed?
I cannot, and the reason that, well, so yes, to a point. I can't speak to average wattage because we have no idea how to even measure that. So I did listen to the comments.
Right.
And while I sympathize, I don't see us pulling one specific device out of a definition and allowing it to do something others don't. That's just not realistic in my mind. And while, again, I understand where he's coming from, and I spoke with him in that last meeting, heard, what device he's on and what he's doing. Again, back to the overall safety of the community in Waukee, that does not align with what we're trying to do with the ordinance. Average wattage, I have no idea how we would even get to that. The speed limit is necessary, contrary to some belief. And quite honestly, I think 20 miles an hour is probably too fast. In the city of Waukee, we have multiple crossings. We have multiple competing traffic, whether that be on foot, bicycle, other devices, whatever that is. And really, people need to slow down. They need to give the due time and attention when they're out on our open spaces. And quite honestly, I think 20 is probably a little bit lenient in my mind on that, because I think that's too fast. And, once you get outside of the city, going to Dallas Center or wherever, have at it. But in town, there are just too many crossings. There's too much competing traffic to just leave that wide open.
Thank you. I'm just trying to understand every
Sure.
whole picture.
Chief, I have two questions. One will revolve around education and how we plan to educate our residents on the changes. And the second question really has to do with enforcement and what that's going to look like.
Okay. So first of all, on the education component, we have been educating over the past 18 months and even longer probably. I have asked marketing to keep some track of what we're posting and what we're putting out there, just because the question is going to be asked, what we do to educate people when somebody gets hurt. And there's been a very valiant effort by marketing and the police department and the city as a whole to do that, as well as Metro-wide, because you're starting to see the Ride Safe and Smart messaging come up in multiple communities. West Des Moines had a great program that they ran. They're continuing that. With the changes, we will continue the education component. Again, none of my team wants to write a ticket for this. So there's always the education and discretion component, contacting parents and letting them know, we know you may not like this, but that thing your kid's on is illegal. And helping get people comfortable with the fact that there's going to have to be some guardrails around this. On the enforcement piece, the ordinance does create a simple misdemeanor with a $25 fine should an enforcement be necessary. Again, that's not where we want to go. But if we continue to have problems with the same person or the same group of people over and over and over, then that's an option that we can tackle. One other component of that, I've been in conversations literally the last 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and today. There is potentially some opportunity for us to align some GTSB funding, Governor Traffic Safety Bureau funding that we use for traffic safety for some trail and roadway crossing safety. And some of the things that I've talked with a couple of other people about is maybe doing a pilot program, one in Waukee and one on the east side of Polk County somewhere, where we essentially set up a tent for a couple hours, 2 to 4 hours on a weekend, and have Waukee Police Department, the MPO would be part of that. They want to join in. I spoke with the colonel from the State Patrol today. He said they'd love to join in and be out physically on the trail with some brochures and some handouts talking about roadway safety and trail etiquette and sharing that space. And so that's all stuff that's in the works. So we are thinking ahead on that.
I was just thinking, the first few weeks are going to be hot and heavy and you're going to be really busy.
They are. And I'm sure we'll have some unhappy parents. But again, ultimately, we don't want to see their child get hurt or injured or somebody else.
Right. Any other questions?
No, I just have a comment. I really appreciate all of the efforts that you've gone to, because this has been a labor of love. But I do want to remind everyone, that safety is the most important thing. That has always been the goal. And without an ordinance that properly addresses these issues, we can't address the safety aspect. So it is time to get the ordinance in place, in my opinion, because we need to be able to give our police officers the tools to be able to enforce things to make our trails safer. We've invested a lot into our trail system. We continue to prioritize that trail system because it is demanded by our residents. That's what they want. That's what they use. And all year round, you see people out on the trails. So we need to be able to allow them to access those trails safely. Right now, they can't. Right now, our police officers can't do anything about it other than education. And so it is time to put an enforcement mechanism in place to address those safety issues. That being said, as you can see, we are very workable people up here. We listen to feedback. We listen to verified data. We take measurements. We put ordinances in place. And then 1 year later, 2 years later, sometime later, we review them and make sure that they are doing what they're actually supposed to do. So it's not as though we're going to put this ordinance in place and then never visit it again and never talk about it again. I imagine we'll talk about it several times over the next few months to make sure that it's doing what it's designed to do, because no action that we take, no study that is done does any good unless it is doing what it is intended to do. So the goal is safety. That is first and paramount. So if this is not improving safety, we address it and we move forward. But I think, in my opinion, it's time to get something on the books so that our police officers have an enforcement mechanism, because otherwise they're stonewalled and they can't do anything to help make our roadways and our trails safer.
Thank you. All right. With that, please vote. Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove.
Yes.
Great. Agenda item I4, consideration of approval of an ordinance for the Division of Revenues under section 403.19 Code of Iowa for the Waukee Consolidated Urban Renewal Area 2026 ordinance parcels. This is an introduction and a first reading.
I introduce the ordinance and move to approve the first reading in title only.
Second.
Brad.
Thank you, Mayor. As the council is aware, we have several urban renewal areas within the city of Waukee, perhaps the largest being our consolidated urban renewal area, which primarily accounts for a majority of the commercial projects that are along Grand Prairie Parkway, Hickman Road, as well as incorporating areas further to the west that are anticipated as a part of future development. As it pertains to the urban, so essentially this is the boundaries within the urban renewal plan. On an annual basis, then the city has taken the approach of identifying those properties where new valuation has been created within the past 12 months, and then creating a TIF ordinance that's specific to those parcels. This map represents several years worth, and I apologize, I realize it's really hard to see, but it represents really the last several years of parcels that have been brought into the city of Waukee as a part of the TIF ordinance associated with it, which then generates the funding opportunities that we use primarily for our public improvement projects. This year is slightly different than what we have done in the past, and that's really relates to some of the recent changes that have been made with the Iowa legislature as it pertains to property tax and specific to TIF collections moving forward. First of all, we're doing this slightly earlier. Normally we do this towards the end of the year, but anticipating some of the upcoming changes, we felt it was time to move forward with this, or we're recommending moving forward with this earlier in the year. Secondly, in addition to the parcels that we have actually seen development or valuation created on over the past year since January 1 of 2025, we have also incorporated parcels that we anticipate seeing development occur in the next 2 years. And that's really to capture the entire value of what we receive for TIF today, because as of January 1st, 2027, there are some changes that are being made that will result in a direct reduction of approximately 20% of our revenues as it pertains to future TIF districts. So while we may not get the full 20 years worth of a few of these parcels, we've done the analysis that shows there's greater value in bringing those in today, recognizing we may only get 18 or 19 years out of that 20 years, but continuing to receive the full 100% versus 80% of the funding that we would receive otherwise. So with that being said, staff is recommending approval of the first consideration. The ordinance itself does incorporate those parcels that are identified on this map in yellow, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Item I5, consideration of approval of an ordinance to amend Chapter 169 zoning ordinance, City of Waukee, Iowa, by rezoning a certain property from A1 to R1, R2, R3, and R4, a property to be known as Sugar Creek Landing. This is a second reading.
Move to approve the second reading of the ordinance in title only.
Okay. Melissa.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The property is located south of 310th Street and west of T Avenue. It is outlined in blue on the screen. It contains approximately 81 acres, and the request is to rezone the property from A1 to R1, R2, R3, and R4. I'm just going to go to the next slide just to refresh your memory on how that lays out. So R1 is closest to T Avenue in kind of that neon color, and then the yellow color is the R2. The R3 area is in the darker brown color, and then the tan area is the R4. Staff recommends approval of the second reading of the rezoning, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove.
Yes.
Item I6, consideration of approval of an ordinance to amend Chapter 155 Building Codes and Regulations, Waukee Municipal Code by repealing the current chapter in its entirety and enacting in lieu thereof, Chapter 155 Building Codes and Regulations. This is a third and final reading.
I move to approve the third reading of the ordinance in title only and place it on final passage.
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Again, as the mayor indicated, this is to update our current building code cycles to more recent code cycles that have come out primarily in the year 2024. Also to reflect some legislative changes where the state has adopted codes where we have to follow those codes. So staff is recommending approval of the third and final consideration for the amendments to Chapter 155. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Item I7, consideration of approval of an ordinance to amend Chapter 156 Residential Rental Code, Waukee Municipal Code by repealing the current chapter in its entirety and enacting in lieu thereof Chapter 156 Residential Rental Code. This is also a third and final reading.
Move to approve the third reading of the ordinance in title only and place it on final passage.
Second.
Andy?
All right, nothing really further to add on this one, other than this just primarily reflects some of the code cycles related to the International Property Maintenance Code, as well as amending our recertification timeline from 2 years to 3 years. So happy to take any questions, but staff is recommending approval of the third and final consideration of the amendments to Chapter 156.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Item I8, Oakleaf Plat 3. I8A, consideration of approval of a resolution approving preliminary plat. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Melissa?
I'll go ahead and present on both the preliminary plat and final plat at the same time.
You touched it. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. Probably a bad idea. The owner and applicant is Grand Prairie Partners LLC. The property is located east of Grand Prairie Parkway and north of Interstate 80. It contains 3.58 acres. It is outlined in blue on the screen. The property is zoned K-RR Kettlestone Retail Regional District. The subject property currently includes 3 different parcels and portions of parcels that were left over from previous platting. The request is to plat the parcels of land into 2 lots for future commercial development. To the next sheet. Lot 1 is 2.3 acres in area and lot 2 is 1.27 acres in area. Access to the lots will be provided off of the private drive located along the north side of the plat. Ingress egress easements will be provided internally to provide access across the site. A 10-foot wide trail exists along the west side of Grand Prairie Parkway, but there is not a public sidewalk or trail adjacent to the site along Grand Prairie Parkway just due to the small amount of right-of-way that exists right there with it being so close to the interstate. There are internal private sidewalks that are provided throughout that development, and that will be provided further north, which then eventually connects to a trail that's along the east side of Grand Prairie Parkway to the north. Public and private utilities will serve the site. Stormwater management will be provided with a basin at the northeast corner of the site. I believe I have the plat in here too, just so you can see it a little bit better. Staff recommends approval of both the preliminary plat and final plat, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
I guess I have one short question. Will the area to the south be developed too, the other portion of that cutoff triangle?
Are you just talking about the lot on
It's
the
green
south
space
side?
right now on the south side, yeah.
It'll be platted for future commercial
Okay.
development. At this time, nothing is planned.
Gotcha. But it will be. Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right, please vote. Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Item I8B, consideration of approval of a resolution approving final plat. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Melissa?
Sorry, I went too far ahead. I have nothing further to add on that. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any final questions?
Hmm.
Please vote. Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Item I9, consideration of approval of a resolution approving site plan for Les Schwab Tire Center at 3405 Grand Prairie Parkway. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Melissa?
Okay, this is the same location. It's just the north lot, lot 1 of that plat we just looked at. The owner is Grand Prairie Partners LLC. The applicant is Les Schwab Tire Centers. The property, again, it's east of Grand Prairie Parkway, north of I-80, contains 2.3 acres. The zoning, again, is K-RR. The project includes the construction of a single-story building that is just under 10,000 square feet in area and approximately 27 feet in height. A trash enclosure is proposed at the south side of the site. A monument sign is shown at the west side of the site along Grand Prairie Parkway. 2 access points will be provided into the site from the private drive along the north. A pedestrian connection will be provided into the site from the private sidewalk that's along the north side. Parking and landscaping requirements are being met. The site will be serviced with both public and private utilities. Stormwater detention is provided with a basin located along the east side of the site. And then let me go to the building elevations. So the building elevations are proposed to be constructed mostly of precast concrete, stone tile, metal, and glazing. Overhead doors are included on the elevation fronting Grand Prairie Parkway. These doors are all transparent glass to give the appearance of a storefront. The trash enclosure will be constructed of steel to match the metal proposed on the building. Staff recommends approval of the site plan, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce.
Yes.
Item I10, consideration of approval of a resolution approving site plan for Blue Drift at 1280 Southeast West Town Parkway. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Melissa?
The owner is Koyos Kettlestone Central LLC. The applicant is Koyos Management Group. This property is located south of Southeast West Town Parkway and east of Grand Prairie Parkway. It contains 0.61 acres. It is outlined in blue, a darker blue on the screen. The property is zoned K-RC Kettlestone Retail Community District. The project includes a single-story building with a basement for a health spa. Go to the next sheet here. The first floor of the building is 5,800 square feet in area and just under 27 feet in height at the tallest point. The basement includes 4,500 square feet. The main entrance to the building is at the south side. Trash enclosure is shown at the southwest corner of the site within the parking lot. There are several accesses already provided into the overall development into the site. The nearest ones begin off of Southeast West Town Parkway and Southeast Glacier Trail. A 10-foot wide trail exists along the west side of Southeast Glacier Trail. And then a 10-foot wide trail will be installed along the south side of Southeast West Town Parkway, adjacent to the site, just to the north. Several pedestrian connections will be provided into the site from those trails. Parking and landscaping requirements are being met. Public utilities are provided to the site. Stormwater detention will be provided in an existing pond. I guess it doesn't really show it here, but it's just at the south side of the overall development, kind of in this area. And there'll be another pond over here. So just north of, what is that street? Southeast Tallgrass Lane. The ponds are privately owned and maintained. Let me go to the building elevations. So the building is proposed to be constructed of fiber cement panels in different colors and variations, architectural metal wall panels, glazing, and then a metal roofing system. The trash enclosure will be constructed of composite to match the building. I think that's all I have in there. Yeah. Staff recommends approval of the site plan, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon.
Yes.
Item I-11, consideration of approval of a resolution approving site plan for Fireside Townhomes. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
The owner is IA Waukee Northwest Second 2 LLC, and the applicant is IA Waukee Northwest Second LLC. The property is located north of Hickman Road and west of Northwest Second Street, contains 6.47 acres. It is outlined in red on the screen. The property is zoned R3 multifamily residential district with a planned development overlay. The first phase of the project or of the overall development was approved by City Council in September of 22. The first phase included a 4-story apartment building. The building is just under 70,000 square feet and 50 feet in height. The building included a total of 282 apartment units, a detached clubhouse, several garage buildings, and several outdoor amenities were also included with that first phase of development. So that's just to the south of which outlined on the screen. The construction of the first phase was completed in August of 24. So the project that we're looking at now, this proposed site plan includes the second phase of this development. This includes a total of 12 townhome buildings with a total of 75 townhome units. All units are planned to be rentals and are located on one lot of record. The units range in size from 1,500 square feet to 1,900 square feet and includes 2 or 3 bedrooms. Each unit also includes attached garages. Several access points are provided to the townhome units. All the streets and drives interior to the site will be privately owned and maintained. A 10-foot wide trail will be provided along the west side of the site adjacent to Northwest 6th Street. A 10-foot wide trail exists already on the east side of the site along Northwest 2nd Street. And then pedestrian connections will be provided into the site from both directions off of 6th Street and 2nd Street. Several private sidewalks will be provided internal to the site. Parking and landscaping requirements are being met, including a 40-foot wide landscape buffer along the west side of the site. Public utilities are provided to the site, but all utilities within the site will be privately owned and maintained. Stormwater detention will be provided in existing ponds. One is located at the north side of the overall development. Back here. You can see them on the screen. So one's at the north side and then one's kind of at the southeast corner of the overall development. Those are privately owned and maintained ponds. The building elevations, let me go to that. The kind of similar materials as what they have out there. Maybe, there we go. The materials are fiber cement siding and panel in different color variations. All buildings are 2-story. I believe that is it. Staff recommends approval of the site plan, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Please vote. Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Item I-12, consideration of approval of a resolution approving site plan for Waypoint Resources at 104th Street. Can I get a
Move to
motion?
approve.
Second.
Andy.
Hello again. So the owner and applicant in this, or excuse me, the owner is Sunset Beginnings LLC and the applicant is Waypoint Resources. Property is located south of Laurel Street and west of 4th Street, and it's 0.65 acres in area. Waypoint Resources is requesting approval of a site plan to make some exterior modifications to the site. This site was originally developed in 2012 for a daycare center. That daycare center has since ceased operations and is working with Waypoint Resources on the purchase of the building. I think we're all aware of what services Waypoint Resources provides to our community. But for those who may not be familiar, Waypoint provides several services to folks in need, such as a food pantry, free medical care, rental assistance, and several other services. And Waypoint is looking to relocate to this site from their current space located within Westview Church, which is located at the corner of Southeast Boone Drive and Southeast University Avenue. As I stated, there's no modifications to the existing building on the site. The site plan does identify kind of a square area on the what would be the southwest corner where a potential future expansion could happen, but any expansion of that building would have to come back with an additional site plan review and approval. The primary site modifications, let me show you, yeah, here we go. The primary site modifications include the addition of 18 parking spaces on the west side of the site, as well as an access from the north side from Laurel Street. That would remove approximately 3 on-street parking spaces from the right-of-way of Laurel Street. However, they'd be adding 18 parking spaces on the west side for their clients to utilize. And then in addition, adding an additional 4 spaces on the back side of the building that would just be kind of a small expansion of the existing parking area. So in total, 22 total parking spaces would be added. This is zone C2, which is downtown village district. There are no minimum parking requirements in the downtown village district. Waypoint came to us and said, you know, we really can't buy this building if we can't add parking. And so in addition to the proposed parking additions, they are proposing, if we go flip back to the aerial photo, whoops, you can kind of see this open west side. That is a very shallow dry bottom stormwater detention basin that was installed when this building was built back in 2012. And so in order to accommodate the stormwater management for the site, they are proposing to install an underground detention system that would be underneath the parking lot that they are proposing to add. So those are the primary modifications to the site. The Planning and Zoning Commission did review and make a recommendation of approval for this request at their meeting last Tuesday. And staff is also recommending approval of the site plan for Waypoint Resources, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
This is a great location and a great spot in the city for them.
Easily accessible too.
Hmm.
Even if people don't have cars, they can easily walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very exciting project to work on.
Yes.
Are you gonna-
We've needed the space for a while.
Are you going to take the pencil and the ruler?
When we first sat down and met with Melissa Stimple, I asked her, I said, are you going to use the pencil still? And she said, I'm trying to figure out a way that we can do something with it. So,
Of course.
All right, please vote. Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon.
Yes.
Item I-13, consideration of approval of a resolution approving City of Waukee fiscal year 2027 strategic plan. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Brad?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. As you are all well aware, annually, the Mayor and City Council, as well as the leadership team made up of the department directors within the City of Waukee, collectively work together on preparing and planning for our strategic initiatives for the upcoming year. This process is a multitude of days, starting out with staff spending a full day working through things that have happened in the past year, as well as recommendations for priorities for the City Council to consider in the following year. That then proceeds to the Mayor and City Council for a 2-day work session process, followed by a third day, not quite a full day, but a portion of that day then actually itemizing and determining your priorities. I'm happy to report that the Mayor and City Council has determined a total of 25 priorities for the upcoming 12 to 18 months. This does really become the work product for the staff team in coordination and collaboration with the Mayor and City Council. Briefly, I'll walk through these. They are separated between policy, which primarily would be the Mayor and City Council action, and management priorities. There are a total of 13 policy priorities that are split between top priorities and high priorities. And briefly, I will reference these. Number one being assessing the Westcom dispatch. That is a collaborative agency that we are part of 6 communities within the suburban parts of the Des Moines Metro, looking at the long-term service options as well as costs associated with that, and potential options looking towards the future. We recognize that as costs go up, we need to continue to collaborate and identify opportunities for future improvements to that system. Number 2 relates specifically to annexation priorities and specific this year to an area within our city called Hunter Hollow and working towards steps in incorporating that into the city limits of Waukee. Number 3 pertains to our park systems as well as our underpasses and trails. We've spent significant dollars within the city of Waukee on these amenities, and unfortunately, we've had a lot of vandalism. And so this really is looking at what can we do from a security and safety standpoint to protect these assets as well as make them available for all of our residents to enjoy. Number 4 is a longstanding priority that I'm happy to report we're continuing to make significant progress on, but it's continuing to advance affordable housing initiatives within the city of Waukee, including the development of the remaining portion of city-owned ground for affordable housing, looking at alternative options from the private side to encourage additional affordable housing, and finally determining where we fit in terms of those priorities and initiatives at the regional level for affordability. Number 5 relates to defining opportunities for intergovernmental and community partnerships, continuing to focus primarily on the school district, the state, Dallas County, as well as the federal government, where we can collaborate and create opportunities that benefit the citizens of Waukee. And number 6 on the top priorities pertains specifically to our civic campus and identifying the process for what I'll call phase 1 of the actual development of that property, which does include some ground that's been identified for future private development, and identifying and creating the process for the disposal and development of that property. Your high priorities are 7, and they are continuing on the theme of the civic campus of really identifying the first major improvements, which would be the park at the intersection of what is now 6th Street and University. That would also incorporate or looking at opportunities for music venues and other large recreational spaces for our residents and visitors. 8 pertains to open space and green space, not only an inventory of those, but putting together direction and long-term policies for the maintenance of those properties that are owned by the city. 9 pertains to traffic, which is completing traffic study and preparing the implementation plan for the Ute Avenue corridor, specifically starting at Interstate 80 and working our way to the north. 10 pertains to water, and specifically looking at water rates as well as irrigation rates. Number 1, to determine that we have the appropriate rate structure in place, and number 2, to continue to encourage the reduction in water consumption. 11 pertains to resident engagement and various opportunities there. 12 is pertaining to our crisis intervention efforts that we currently have in place, identifying possible partnerships as well as areas where we can strengthen that service that we have. And then finally, on the policy side of things, it's defining direction and process for development of a piece of ground that's currently owned by the city within the Triangle Business District. We've just seen a lot of success and a lot of momentum, and the council has identified this as a priority to continue that path forward. Very briefly on the management side of things, it's really completing and approving various documents that we've been working on over the last couple of years. One being our economic development master plan that we're probably halfway through. Second being continuing our partnership as well as our relationship with Apple on the property that they own here in the city of Waukee. Completing an annual review to our staffing plan as we continue to grow, identifying those strategic positions that we need to look at from a growth within our own ranks. 4 is prepare plan and recommendations for non-union employee compensation as we continue to look to be competitive with the market. And 5 on this list is adopting and implementing the updated e-bikes scooter ordinance, which we're already on our way to completing this item. So we can go down to 24. And then finally, the remaining 7 pertain to coordinating the planning and management of the Waukee Town Center music venue that's being constructed and will open next year, completing the design and constructing and implementing the Kettlestone Corridor Enhancements Project, approving the comprehensive plan update, completing a Parks and Recreation Master Plan, which would replace the current plan that was adopted in 2011, updating our long-range financial plan, finalizing and adopting our Technology Services Master Plan, and finally continuing to provide regular economic development reports and updates to the mayor and city council. That is the kind of the overview of the 25 goals that you have established for collectively for the mayor and city council and staff, and be happy to answer your questions, and we would recommend approval.
Perfect. I do want to reiterate that all of these are in addition to the copious amounts of work that our staff does every single day, responding to emergency calls, patching streets, televising sewer lines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we appreciate their work on all of it, as well as everyone's efforts in providing input to the strategic plan items and their work in narrowing it down. Are there any comments or questions?
No. It was a really good process, and it was great work. I mean, everybody had a chance to participate, and I thought we got a lot done in those 2 days.
All right, please vote. Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Agenda item J is reports. Brad?
Just want to bring to your attention some upcoming events. Believe it or not, we do not meet before the 4th of July. So we have a copious amounts of activities planned for July 3rd and July 4th this year. The full schedule of events is on our website. I know that went up here in the last few days, and we encourage all of our residents and visitors to attend those festivities. Additionally, we are holding a new event this year. This is on Saturday, the 27th, which is primarily focusing on new residents to Waukee, kind of going along with your citizen engagement plan that you just approved as a part of your strategic planning. This is really to continue to reiterate community and allow the opportunity for new residents to learn more, as well as meet some of our elected officials that are going to participate in that. That will be held this Saturday, the 27th, from 9:30 to 11 at Winfield Park. That's all I have.
Isn't the 27th next weekend?
I'm sorry?
The 27th is next weekend.
Yeah, the 27th. What did I say? This weekend? Yeah, it'd be next weekend.
Jumping a week. It's okay.
Yeah.
No report.
Kayla? No report?
No report.
No report.
I just want to thank the people that put on Waukee Palooza. It was another great event this year, and thank you for the opportunity to have some of the elected officials out at the city booth. It was very fun.
Maureen? It was very fun. No, nothing else.
I meant to bring this up while we were talking about strategic priorities, but just this last Friday, I had the opportunity to participate in a panel discussion put on by the Greater Des Moines Partnership for a visiting group of 140 something members of the Lexington, Kentucky community that came up to learn about what we're doing in the metro, and all of their Friday morning panels were around affordable housing. And so it's clearly not just an issue we're facing. They are struggling with that as well, and have asked kind of for our best practices. So that was a good discussion, a good conversation. With that, agenda item L is a closed session pursuant to Code of Iowa 21.51I to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent needless and irreparable injury to that individual's reputation, and the individual requests a closed session. Can I get a motion and a second to end the regular session and go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Becky, please call the roll. Councilmember Crone?
Yes.
Councilmember Grove?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce?
Yes.
The Zoom meeting will be muted while the council is in closed session. Following the closed session, the Zoom meeting will be unmuted, so the meeting can be adjourned in open
You
session.
bringing me an empty bag?
If you can just shove them, or, yeah,
We're back in regular session.
all right. Agenda item L, consideration of approval of a resolution approving, or sorry, I didn't do the end of the closed session, no.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Oops.
Move in the closed session and come back to the open session.
Do we need to do a roll call?
Yes.
I think you have to do that.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce.
Yes. Okay. With that, agenda item L is consideration of approval of a resolution approving the city administrator employment evaluation and the salary adjustment of the step increase of 5% and the cost of living adjustment of 3% to bring the annual base salary to $241,606.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? All right, please vote.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Grove,
Yes.
Councilmember Crone,
Yes.
Councilmember Pierce,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon.
Yes.
All right, with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
We'll move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
My brain went to roll call vote again there for a second, and I was like, I'm just.
We all said yes
A second ago, I was like, what are we supposed to say here?